Hey, what's up, Karate Kid fans? Hopefully, all of you have had a chance to see Cobra Kai. If you haven't, go check it out right now. You'll love it. It's fantastic. I wanted to talk about season two actually in this video and kind of the things that I'd like to see. There's a lot of rumors and theories and a lot of talk going on about what to expect in season two. And now, with Cobra Kai season one ending and being fresh in my head, I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about it a bit, more or less what I'd like to see in season two, because it's really tough to do any predictions of any sort, especially with the cliffhangers that they left us with. So hopefully, me talking about what I'd like to see will spark an interest in you guys and what you'd like to see. And hopefully, you'll leave me some comments. But, anyways, let's get right into it. So, obviously, the big cliffhanger with season one was Kreese returning. And so let's talk about Kreese a little bit. He obviously doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue in that cliffhanger, but I would like to talk a little bit about his relationship with Johnny. We don't really get much of a reaction from Johnny other than, this holy shit expression on his face. And so what can we really expect out of season two? Well, for me at least, I want to know, a few things, a few questions I have. Will Johnny get tempted back by Kreese? Kreese is there congratulating him, right? Good job, you won, you did everything I thought you could do. Cobra Kai is back on top, so now is Kreese gonna, tempt Johnny back to the dark side? Because Johnny was kind of, he had mixed feelings with Miguel fighting dirty and winning the tournament, so he's a little bit conflicted, it seems. So is Kreese going to try to tempt him back, or, well, that raises another question: does Kreese still own the Cobra Kai name? Because remember, in Karate Kid 3, it was revealed that he and Terry Silver basically owned Cobra Kai, and so are those rights? Does Terry Silver still own the Cobra Kai dojo, the name legally? So does Kreese have the power to, kick Johnny out if he doesn't want to go along with Kreese, or is Johnny going to take Kreese back? Is Kreese going to take over Cobra Kai? So there's all kinds of questions that hopefully they'll answer in season two. I'm actually hoping that season two picks up right after, basically right after what we saw in season one at the end there. I want to see some dialogue with Johnny and Kreese. Is Johnny just going to tell Kreese, F off? Who knows? But these are some of my questions and things that I want answered. Um, well, that raises another question. So Johnny is confused or conflicted, so to speak, about Miguel winning, and basically Miguel is kind of like he's the new Johnny. I mean, he is totally on board with Cobra Kai, the No Mercy. He's taking it all to heart. So, is Johnny going to continue down this path where he wants to clean up the Cobra Kai name? And with that, is Miguel gonna, leave Johnny? If Kreese is here, Kreese is like Cobra Kai, on steroids. So now that Miguel's kind of taken up that mantle and the Cobra Kai baton, if you will, is he going to get tempted to be Kreese's pupil? So that's another theory. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Are we going to see another arc for Miguel in that regard? Is he going to have to dial it back, or is he going to just continue to be the new Cobra Kai poster boy? So, what is Kreese's scheme? Are we going to see any arc to Kreese? We've only seen kind of hints of that in the Karate Kid movies. For instance, in Karate Kid 3, you see kind of a defeated Kreese. And at the beginning of the movie, you're thinking, oh, wow. So this guy, he's pretty humbled and he's ready to throw in the towel and he's been humiliated. And you almost get a glimpse of a little bit of an arc. But then, of course, Silver brings him back to being a douchebag. But are we going to get any sort of a backstory to Kreese? How did he become the way he is? Are we going to see Vietnam flashbacks or any sort of karate championships that he fought in? Flashbacks to that sort of thing. Are we going to see a young Kreese? That would be cool. So he's got stuff throughout the Cobra Kai dojo in the earlier films about of him, in tournaments, trophies. So clearly he's got a history of karate, and I would like to see some backstory to that. So, anyways, that's Kreese. I've got a lot of questions, and clearly he's going to be a bigger part of season two. So, what I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? What do you think is going to happen with Kreese? Um, okay, so now we have to talk about a very hot topic as far as season two goes, and that's the rumor of Mike Barnes. Now, I'm sure most of you have already seen the video, but if you haven't, I will post a link in the description. There's a kind of a I don't know if you'd call it a paparazzi video, but there's a video that was uploaded to Getty Images, a stock footage site. Um, but basically, it's footage of Sean Cannon, who plays Mike Barnes, saying that he's going to return and reprise his role as Mike Barnes in Cobra Kai season two. And he says it a few times. And then if you look at his Twitter page, it's all things Cobra Kai. So there's a very strong rumor, and I think it's controversial for people to say that it's confirmed, but a lot of people are saying that it's confirmed that the character Mike Barnes, played by Sean Cannon, is going to return for season two. So let's just all assume that that's completely 100% legit. Mike Barnes is returning for season two. Holy crap. Now what? So Mike Barnes, you can't really compare him with Johnny. Hang on, I'm just looking at some notes over here. There's such a contrast between the two characters. The big one for me is that in the Karate Kid part one and part two, there's an arc with Johnny. In fact, throughout Karate Kid 1, especially at the tournament and beyond, you really see a little bit of an arc. You see confliction within Johnny, when Kreese tells him to basically fight dirty, sweep his leg. You see the gears turning. Holy shit, my sensei's gone nuts and this is not right. He has a moment of redemption, a big moment of redemption at the end when he gives Daniel the trophy, tells him that it was a good match. So Johnny isn't entirely a one-dimensional character, whereas Mike Barnes is completely a one-dimensional character. It's like a page torn out of a magazine. There's no depth to the character. He's just 100% bad guy, and all he cares about is his money, and he's a real asshole. So there's really no three-dimensional look at Mike Barnes, no backstory, nothing. And that's what we get out of Karate Kid 3. So if he returns, are we going to get any sort of a backstory or an arc? Because there wasn't one hint of redemption with him in Karate Kid 3. The other thing is, what's his relationship to Kreese? So if he comes back, obviously Kreese is back. Are they still, buddy or working together? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in Karate Kid 3, the only relationship that they had was to humiliate Daniel and Miyagi and win back the Cobra Kai dojos. And Mike Barnes's real relationship was just strictly business. He just wanted to defeat Daniel so that he could get 50% of the Cobra Kai dojos. Well, that brings another question. Does he have 50%, does he have any ownership or partial ownership to the Cobra Kai name? Because to my understanding, he was only going to get that if he defeated Daniel, which he didn't. So that's a question I've got. Yeah, are we going to get any backstory? Because, all we knew about him was that he was known, at least throughout the martial arts community, as the bad boy, the karate's bad boy. So he was obviously well known throughout martial arts tournaments as being kind of a ringer. So are we going to get any backstory to that? I don't know. Is Mike Barnes and Johnny, are they going to be rivals? Because Mike Barnes wasn't even part of the Cobra Kai dojo. He wasn't, for all we know, that wasn't the same form of martial arts that he even studied. So he was just there to represent Cobra Kai. But Is he going to come back? Is he going to be teaching at one of the Cobra Kai dojos? I'd like to see a rivalry between Johnny and Mike Barnes. Definitely would like to see them fight. um, there's a lot of questions with bringing that character back, and anytime that you bring Mike Barnes back, the character I want to see return is Terry Silver, because he is such a good over the top villain, just a cartoon character, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, he has got to be ranked way up there as one of the best villains ever. He's so over the top, so good. So I would love to see Thomas Ian Griffith come back and reprise that role. I doubt it's going to happen in season 2, being that there's so much to fill in that season with all the questions. I'm only talking about 2 characters here, and I've already got a gazillion questions. So I think it's going to be. I would love to see Terry Silver return, but I don't know if we're going to see it in season 2. For me personally, I think I'm kind of skeptical, but I would still love to see that. Don't get me wrong. Maybe season 3. Anyways, moving along, let's talk about the relationship between Daniel and Johnny, and hopefully we'll see some more of that relationship kind of evolve in season 2. The big thing I want to see with these 2 characters now that Kreese is back is I would love to see the 2 of them team up to defeat a common enemy, in this case Kreese, or maybe it will be Mike Barnes, who knows. But I always like seeing that, especially now that we've really seen a full 3-dimensional look at Johnny. We've seen his arc. He's not an entire asshole, and I really loved. I know I talked about this in my other video, but I really loved that scene that they shared together, Johnny and Daniel, especially at the bar. And so I would absolutely love to see Johnny go to Miyagi-Do, go to Daniel and say, "Hey, Kreese is back. I need your help." And those 2 have to take on Kreese or Mike Barnes, or, whatever enemy. They have to team up together. Would love to see that. And of course, I would still like to see, they hinted at the Rocky 3 thing in episode 9, but I would still like to see the 2 of them spar, even if it's just friendly sparring and not a legit fight. Would like to see that happen. Don't know if we're going to see that or not, but they really teased it in season 1. So as a fan, you can't tease me like that without giving me the cake in season 2. So hopefully we see that. I know I would like to. Johnny and Robbie, that's another relationship we've got. And we saw a little bit of an arc near the end of season 1, especially with the tournament where Johnny apologizes to his son, and his son kind of forgives him. You don't know if he really did or not, because he still runs off with Daniel, doesn't go back to his dad. But, are they on speaking terms now? Are they visiting each other in season 2? Will we see that at least? I'd like to see what Robbie's new opinion is of Johnny. Has he changed at all, or does Robbie really still believe that they fought dirty? Miguel fought dirty, and that was all because of Johnny. So maybe there's still some remorse, maybe some bitterness, but I would like to see their relationship evolve a bit in season 2. I want to see more of an arc. Maybe. If Johnny has to go back, let's say for the sake of things, Johnny has to go to Daniel for help, maybe you'll see a different side of Robbie and Johnny there. Maybe they patch things up enough where they're fighting together. Who knows? It'll be really interesting to see that, and especially with Miguel being kind of Johnny's pupil and Johnny being kind of the surrogate father, now feeling conflicted about that tournament. Will Miguel leave Johnny? I know I mentioned that. And will Johnny seek out a new pupil? Who know? Will he really try hard to win back Robbie? These, all these different relationships that have intertwined and that we've kind of got sparked in the first season. I think there's a good opportunity for those relationships to evolve a lot more in season 2. Okay, so those are specific relationships I've talked about that I'd like to see grow a bit. But let's talk about let's move a little bit away from that. I'd like to and talk a little bit more about Daniel and Johnny in particular as individual characters and what we'd like to see out of them. And for me personally, I want to see more backstory and I want to see more flashbacks. I personally can't get enough of that stuff. And I thought they did a great job in season one. So for Daniel, uh, I want to, he hinted at this when he was making that sushi dinner with his knife, and he says that he got this knife from his first trip to Okinawa, which would be Karate Kid Part 2. But that implies that he made several other trips to Okinawa. And so what were those trips like? What did he go with Mr. Miyagi or did he go by himself? I would like to hear more about that. Maybe some lessons he learned. Did he bump into Chosen and Sato out there? Some more. Did he have any further relations with Kamiko? Even though I think in Karate Kid 3, he says that she took some dancing gig in Tokyo or something like that. I'm sure you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd like to hear more about those Okinawan trips that he took. Uh, any additional lessons that he learned from Mr. Miyagi? I want to see some flashbacks to that. I mean, it'd be tough to do flashbacks because obviously Pat Morita is no longer with us, but I would like to get some more backstory, some more lessons that he learned post Karate Kid Part 3. Because obviously you can't tell me that his training just ended there, right? In the season one, or the tombstone says, I think that Mr. Miyagi passed in 2011. That's only 7 years ago. So obviously there were more lessons and more training beyond Karate Kid Part 3 in that big, 30 plus year gap. So I want to see some more backstory or hear some more lessons that he learned from Mr. Miyagi. And then the big one that I'd like to know is what's the deal with Mr. Miyagi's house? All the cars are still there, including Daniel's yellow Ford convertible, and the house looks pretty much the same. So has Daniel been the caretaker there? Has he been making frequent trips out there and keeping the house up? I mean, it does look a little bit worn. It looks aged. Let's be fair. But I mean, everything's kind of laid out the same way, and so it makes you wonder, what's the deal with the house? Did he live there for a while and then move away, or did he leave everything the same? And then in this season, what's going to happen with the house? Are there's hints clearly that they're going to open up the Miyagi-Do school there. So what's going to happen with that? I'm really excited to find out all about the deal with the house. um, so there's that, and then now let's shift to Johnny. So that's Daniel, but let's move to Johnny. I loved the flashback scene with him as a kid and coming across the Cobra Kai dojo for the first time. I want to see more stuff like that. Maybe him being a little bit older. I would really like to see his early days, his first time setting foot in the dojo, his early lessons under Kreese, early lessons of Cobra Kai, how he as a kid got shaped and formed into who he became in high school. So I would like to see that. I would like to see how he met all of his Cobra Kai friends, or how he met them and got them to join Cobra Kai. How all of that evolved. How did he meet Tommy, Bobby, Jimmy, and Dutch, and how did they form their little posse? Those stories that he was telling about Dutch, and he mentioned Tommy getting brain damage from Mr. Miyagi. I want to see more stuff like that. I love those flashback scenes. It's candy for a fan like me. And then I'd like to see how he and Allie met. I mean, he talked about the movie theater and the popcorn and all that stuff, but I want to see the early days. I want to see that actually happened. I would like to see them in their early days of dating, their relationship together. what kind of a person he was with Allie, because clearly she liked him for a long time, so he couldn't have been a real asshole entirely. So I'd like to see all that stuff. Maybe the dynamic, what happened behind the scenes. When he was dating Allie, what did his parents think of her? Uh, what did her parents think of him? I mean, we got a little hint of that at the country club, but I would like to see more of that exchange and that interaction. So those are the big things with Johnny and Daniel I'd like to see that were hinted at in season one. And that actually is a good segue. I want to see Allie return. She's got to make a return at some point. I've really got my fingers crossed that Elizabeth Shue will at least make one appearance, maybe in one episode. But I really want to see the character Allie make a return. Uh, the reason being is, and we you kind of got more of a glimpse of that during the bar scene with Johnny and Daniel, but clearly she is the glue between these two characters. She's the one that brought them both together for better or worse. And I would love to see an episode where Elizabeth Shue comes back and Johnny and Daniel are both there, and you get a lot of that exchange between these characters, and there can be some really interesting dynamics there if she returns. Is she still married? Maybe she separates with her husband, and or Johnny gets to make some comment about he looked like a real douchebag, or there's some fire between uh Allie and Johnny, being that Johnny is more or less a single guy. So I would really like to see her come back. I think that could be a very entertaining episode, a lot of fun. Uh, yeah, you got to get Elizabeth Shue back. I think it could be really funny. I mean, I don't think there would be a competition between Johnny and Daniel, uh, for her affection, because obviously Daniel's happily married. But it would be kind of fun. Maybe they're bitter towards her because she really stabbed them both in the hearts. She split with both of them. There could be some really fun, playful humor with that going on. So you got to get Allie back. Allie's got to come back, whether it's season 2 or season 3. But I would really like at least one episode with her returning. And then other character cameos I would like to see, or characters reprising their roles, or coming back into the series, whether it's just for one episode or for several episodes. I already mentioned Terry Silver. Would love to see him come back. I don't know if we're going to see him in season 2. As much as I'd like to, I think they may already have too many characters if they're bringing Mike Barnes into the picture. Although, Kreese, Mike Barnes, come on, Terry Silver, those are the three stooges right there. So I'd like to see Terry Silver, really like to see him come back. I did mention I would like to see other Cobra Kai members return. Johnny mentions Dutch and he mentions Tommy. I would like to see one or all of those guys come back in one form or the other. Maybe they visit, maybe he visits Dutch or one of his, or Bobby or someone at a different dojo, or their other career, or, some part of their life. It doesn't have to be that they, come to Johnny or Johnny just bumps into him. It could be that he visits them. So I would like to see other Cobra Kai characters, especially the same actors reprising their roles as the Cobra Kai buddies of Johnny. So there's that. Would like, I'd like to see Chosen, but being that was all Okinawa stuff, I don't know if we're really going to see that or not, unless it was in a flashback that Daniel has to a different trip to Okinawa. Unless for some reason he came to the US. But I think the likelihood of us seeing the character Chosen again would have to be in a flashback to Okinawa. But who knows? The series has thrown a lot of happy surprises in the wake of all of us Karate Kid fans. So who knows? They could throw us a curveball and be like, "Oh, duh! Wow, I didn't think that would happen." But it would be cool to see Chosen again. We won't see Sato. I know that because unless it's played by a different actor. Because to my knowledge, the actor that played Sato in Karate Kid Part Two has passed. But correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you guys will. Okay, that's pretty much. Well, okay, one more I would like to see would be Pat Johnson. If you guys don't know, Pat Johnson was the original referee in Karate Kid Part 1 and 3. He also did a lot of the choreography and the training for all the Karate Kid movies. So I would really like to see him return, whether it's just a cameo or whether he is a referee or on a panel or something along those lines. Would like to see Pat Johnson. I know he's still alive, even though I think he's probably in his 80s. But yeah, so I'd like to see all those characters return in one form or another. And just because I'd like to see them all, I don't need to see them all, but I would like to. So just throw breadcrumb my way, and I'm happy enough as it is. Just the fact that there's a season 2 is good enough for me. But that's pretty much everything I can think of as far as like theories and what I'd like to see goes. It's impossible for me to predict what's going to happen. I just throw a bunch of stuff out there that, hey, maybe this will happen. But by no means is this a video about predictions for season 2. Quite frankly, I think that's impossible, at least for me to do. But anyways, that wraps up what I have to say. So I would love to hear what all of you guys think about season 2, about the rumors, especially like Mike Barnes returning, what you would like to see, what you think is going to happen, characters you want to see, more relationships you want to see evolve or new ones. So I'm always happy to read all your comments. So post a comment in this video. And thanks for watching. And I'm really looking forward to season 2. I loved season 1. I'm sure all you guys feel the same way. But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble on and babble. And I'll see you in the next video. All right. Catch you later, guys.